Lightwish sent me their 72 set of soft pastels to try out. Lightwish has positioned this set as an excellent and affordable set for beginners, so I wanted to know, could this set stand alone, especially if I'm working outdoors? Can I take this set and then create a diverse painting with a lot of different elements using a lot of different colors? We're also going to look at how these pastels perform on different quality papers and how they blend. When first opening the box, I was impressed with how sturdy it is, and then as soon as I took off the layer of foam, I just loved the luscious colors, and what a variety there was. The box is a really good heavy box, and the pastels are very safely and snugly tucked inside their foam. Once you remove the first layer of pastels, there's a little tray below it, and then we're going to discover the next layer. I loved how each layer of pastel came with a sturdy cardboard tray, because I used these cardboard trays outside on my table while I was working. Ta-da! There's an entire range of colors down below here, and there's such an excellent range. Look at all of those blues and teals and greens, and I really appreciate those grays and browns. It's so nice to have a set with such diverse colors. As soon as I picked up the first stick, I can feel there's a good weight and density to these pastels, and that they're a little drier than some of the other brands I'm used to using. One thing I do not enjoy about so many brands of pastels is when they put these little white wrappings around the soft pastels, because then I have to go and remove them all, because I like to use the pastels on their sides or even break them up into chunks. Let's test out the blending of these pastels on some different quality papers. I forgot to push record on that first blend, but don't worry about it because I'm going to show some other colors on that same paper. Here I'm working on Pastelmat by Clairfontaine. It's my favorite paper, and these pastels are covering it excellently. Like, look at the opaqueness that we're getting and the beautiful mix that we get before I even come in with my finger. So these pastels perform really lovely on this paper. But if you didn't have this kind of paper, you'd probably still be thinking that the Strathmore did all right. I mean, the colors are beautiful and they're vibrant, but they're so much nicer on a paper with some tooth to it. These Lightwish pastels go down quite well on both types of paper. It isn't until we start trying to blend with the finger that we notice that the Strathmore paper can't really hold on to this dry pigment and it tends to disappear, whereas the Pastelmat does. So, tip for beginners: invest in an excellent quality paper. That's where you want to throw most of your money. And then you can buy an economical pastel like these Lightwish pastels and you can get excellent results. I mean, look at how the different colors are blending together. We're getting such a pretty orange and such a pretty green with very little effort. You can see how opaque these soft pastels go down without me putting a whole bunch of layers onto the Clairfontaine Pastelmat. And then you can see a lot of the paper texture coming through with the Strathmore. If you choose to buy this set, you can buy them directly from the Lightwish's site with my affiliate link, which I would really appreciate. And if you choose to do this between August 18th and 24th, there's actually the biggest sale of the year on this pastel set. You'd get 20% off without even using my coupon, but if you're seeing this at another time, then you can use my coupon Heather. I'm going to put everything in the description below so that you'd be able to click right on the link. Now let's take a look at the Canson Tients. This is another lower quality paper that I tend to use just for sketching. Lightwish pastels go down onto this a little bit better than on that Strathmore pastel paper. You can see that waffle texture coming through. I'm not a huge fan of the waffle texture, but some people like it. There is a smoother side to the Canson Tients paper, but I don't really find it takes as many layers as the waffle side. So I use the waffle side and then I make an effort to blend things in. These Lightwish pastels blend really easily, whether you're using your finger or whether you're using a soft tool. And of course, you don't always have to blend with a tool. You can leave the soft pastel on the paper as is. These soft pastels cover well enough that you can do that, but you really do need to be using a better quality paper. We're moving on to Canson's high quality paper, which is their Tients Velvet paper. And these pastels are going down just beautifully, very opaque, very easily. They're mixing super easy without me even trying to blend. All I'm doing is glazing over top, and these pastels are blending so pretty. Like, look at that orange color that just showed up with zero effort. These colors show up so nicely on these dark toned papers, so the colors are just popping off of this black, and they did very well on that brown sienna on the Clairfontaine as well. Soft pastel sticks are good size too. You're getting a lot of pastel per stick, and you could even bust those in half and you'd still have a good size half stick to work with. Lightwish is a little bit of a chalkier pastel, and so it's going to leave more residue behind than something like this Sennelier is going to leave behind. This means you're probably going to want to keep a rag or a baby wipe to help keep your hands clean. My hands are dirty pretty well no matter what brand I use, but I'm just mentioning it. But it's worth remembering that a Sennelier is probably like 5 times the price of a Lightwish pastel, so probably worth keeping a baby wipe on hand. Now for the test we've all been waiting for. Is this 72 set of Lightwish pastels going to cut it when I'm outdoors trying to create quite a diverse painting with a lot of different colors, different textures, and different imagery? I did enjoy the range of values. So I started out with quite a dark purple down here, and if that's forming the hills in the background. I like the fact that there are dark shades and values in this set. A lot of sets don't have enough darks, but your range of darks to mediums to light tones is really quite impressive in this set. I still find that I really love a good Terry Ludwig eggplant. That's like a really dark purple, but that is a hard pigment to find, and so it's good to have something like that on hand. But I created this painting without it, and I think it's coming along pretty good. In keeping with what we saw earlier with the blending demonstration, it's not hard to blend these pastels on. What I'm using right now is Canson Velvet, and I'm using a soft tool in this moment to blend. I do find a soft tool can often brush a lot of your pigment right off of the paper, and that certainly did happen when I was trying to use the Lightwish pastels, maybe even a little bit more than normal just because of the dryness to the pigment, and so it worked a little better when I blended with my fingers. I enjoyed what a large range of colors there was to choose from. So even if I wanted to pick up a blue, I really had to choose between the blues. There was dark blues and there was light blues and slightly warmer blues and slightly cooler blues. And I really appreciated that in this 72 set. It gave me just a full candy box to select from. Of course, I was curious about the layering. So now that I have my base layers down, the question was, are these greens going to go down well on top? Am I going to get good pigment coverage as I try to put trees in front of the hills? And that really wasn't a problem. These pastels layered quite nicely one over top of the other. I often like to make different styles of marks. So here I'm creating some light holes in between the tree branches with just sort of like a 1/4 inch at the end of my pastel, so lying the pastel on its side. And then I changed to using just the end of the pastel, and I like to kind of swivel and curl it and use it almost like a pencil to make the branches. And these pastels perform very nicely that way, even going over the foundation background layers. And as I said earlier, I just love the rich dark tones that are available in this set. So this dark blue is just, I love it. I love it. I love those dark sets because then you have a full range of values. And a full range of values is what you need to create a full painting. You need the darks, you need the midtones, and you need the lights. And this set has both of those things. If you'd like to understand value a little bit better and how it creates basic form, I do have a YouTube video. You can check that out in the card above. There's a lovely range of pinks in this set. Pinks I find are often hard to come by, and their pigments are usually a little bit harder than some of the other colors. So they had some really nice like pinky and magenta and purple colors in here. These pinks were soft enough that they layered quite well, whereas sometimes I'll be working with a pink and it just won't cover a layer. And one thing you want to think about is the softer pastels cover easier than the harder pastels. So you tend to want to put your hard pastels down first and then your soft pastels. I would say that this particular set kind of runs right in the medium range. So it's not incredibly hard like a new pastel, but then it's not also going to be like really soft and smooshy like a schminke pastel would be. And so I think it's fairly versatile, like for various different projects of what you could do. It was very easy to make marks with quite a light touch. My cousin's cat kept wanting to jump up on my pastel, so he was a bit difficult during this process. I like to hold my soft pastels on their side and use the full side, which is one of the reasons I like to get rid of the little paper wrappings. There are some very nice neutral tones in this set. One of the challenges with so many sets is that the colors are all highly saturated, and the fact is the world isn't highly saturated, so sometimes you have to deliberately kind of like blend them to make them muddy. And I would say that this set still did have a fair bit of saturated colors, but there was enough neutral tones that I could enjoy that too. If you do choose to buy this set, you will not be disappointed by the range of greens. There's a fantastic range of greens, so this is a really good landscape set. I very much enjoyed using this set, and for a student grade set with such a low price point, I think that this is a really excellent set which could get you started and give you something to play with. You can definitely make a variety of paintings with this. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And there are other student grade sets that I have in my possession, and I've just stored them for when I'm teaching classes, but I can see myself actually leaving this set out and even taking it for more plein air adventures. If it isn't clear already, my favorite thing about this set is just the wide range of colors. You are getting a lot of pastel and a lot of like blendable, opaque pastel for a really good value. I can actually see myself using this set regularly. It was a lot of fun to play with, and I think that you could also have a lot of fun. Thank you for watching my video and supporting this channel. Feel free to click the link in the description below to take you to Lightwish, learn more about these pastels, especially if it's the sale, August 18th to the 24th. And if you're not seeing it in the sale, then you can always use my coupon code Heather for 10% off. Thank you.